Transferring stuff with the CP and in between your computer and a remote computer is fine, but it's kind of unlikely and kind of annoying if you had to download a file from the internet using your web browser to your downloads folder and then open up your terminal just to transfer it to a different computer. We're going to use a command line tool to download a file directly to a folder on our Unix environment, on our Linux environment. So in my terminal, I'm going to type in this command wget. Wget is a program that we can run to get things off the web. W is web here, webget. Wget, for what we're using it for, only needs one thing to be passed to it. It only needs us to tell it one thing. And that one thing is the address of the thing that we want. So this is kind of the same idea as typing in an address for SSH. We have to know what we're trying to connect to, and in this case, we have to know what we're trying to get. So I'm just going to type in an address here. I'm going to type in https://toolsandtechniques.ca/topic03/hello.zip. And then I'm going to press enter on my keyboard. There's a lot of output here, but the really important thing is that we can see that it has saved this file called hello.zip to our directory. So if I list the contents of my directory, now I have this file that's called hello.zip right here. I want to move this into my folder structure that I previously created for comp1002. So I'm going to use that move command, and I'm going to move hello.zip. So I'm typing in HE, and then I'm pressing tab on my keyboard, and then COM, comp1002, tab, and then within here I've got Fortnite. So I'm going to type FO, tab, and now there's 5 options that I got to pick. So I'm going to have to type in one of them. So I'll type in Fortnite 3. This is going to move this file from the location that we're in right now into this directory. I want to change into that directory now. So I'm going to type CD. I'm going to type COM and press tab on my keyboard, and then FO, and then press tab, and then type 3. I can change directly into this subdirectory without having to change into one and then change into the other. So I'm going to do them both at the same time. If I type ls in here, now I've got that hello.zip file. Zip files are probably something that you're familiar with in terms of downloading stuff off the internet, except when you download it to your Mac or Windows computer, you just double click it and it opens, and it either extracts it or it does something else with it. We're on the command line, and there's a command line program to help us with that. So we're going to run unzip hello.zip. So I'm typing in unzip hello tab to get the rest of that file name completed for me. I'm going to press enter. And then it tells us that it's extracting all this stuff. So there's a bunch of files that are contained within this. We're good. The point of downloading this specific example is that we're going to want to go through the process of compiling compiling and running each of these different kinds of programs. But it's kind of more likely the case in terms of downloading files from the internet that you're not going to have someone tell you directly what the thing is that you want to download. And so I have an example of this where I needed to do this pretty recently. So I'm going to go to my web browser here, and I'm going to specifically look up a thing that's called Icevogel. Icevogel is template for Pandoc and LaTeX, and what it does is it makes some really nice looking PDF files. So I'm going to go to this GitHub repository, and you can see here that the output that this produces compared to the default PDFs that we've been getting from Pandoc, they look great. I want to be able to download this template. So on GitHub, I'm going to click on this file name, icevogel.tech. This is the thing that I want to download. We could go through the process of copying this entire file and pasting it into Vim, but in the same way that downloading this to your computer and then SCPing it to that remote computer is painful, copying and pasting into Vim is going to be just as painful. So what I'm going to do is there's 2 options. One is there's this raw button. So there's a download button that will let me download the file, but again, I don't want to SCP it to this other machine. So I can either right click on this is a link, and I can choose this option, copy link. On macOS, on Windows, and Firefox and Chrome, on Edge, on Safari, these will all be a little bit different in terms of what they say, but they're all going to say copy link or copy address. I'm going to copy the link. The other option that we have here is to just click on the link, and then in our address bar up here, we can copy this link. I'm going to go back to my terminal now, and I'm going to type in wget, and then I'm going to paste that address that I just copied. Once I've got that, then I can edit this file, icevogel.tech. So vi or vim, and then ei, and then tab. And then this is that same file that was just listed there. It doesn't really matter what all this stuff is. What I want to show is that we can download stuff from the internet by just finding the address of the link that we're trying to get. All right, so now we're in the state where we've extracted this file. So I'm going to change directory into hello. And in here, there's 3 different kinds of programs. Comp 1002 is not a programming course. I'm not expecting you to be able to program, and I don't really care if you know anything about the languages that we're looking at right now. The purpose of this exercise is really to try to make sure that you can, if you find software that you need to do for whatever it is that you're doing. So if you're doing some kind of an experiment, or if you're trying to analyze data that's been generated from something and you find a good program to do that, knowing a little bit about the different kinds of programs and the different kinds of programming languages that there are will help you be able to run those on your own machines. So there's 3 different kinds of languages that we're going to look at. There are compiled programming languages. These are ones where you have to run a program on source code, so on plain text, to generate a running program. There are compiled languages that use something called a virtual machine. And they look a little bit like compiled programs, but the difference is you have to run a program to compile it, so to take that plain text source code and make it into something that can run. But then you have to use another program to actually run that thing. Compiled programs just run by themselves. The difference is not super important in terms of this course, but they're different workflows in terms of getting each to run. The last one is called interpreted programming languages, and interpreted programming languages are ones where you will take a source file, so a plain text source code, and you will just run a program on it. You don't have to compile it first, and it will just work. So let's change into this compiled directory. So I'm typing cd tab to compiled. And in here, there's a file called ls. There's a file called hello.c. With hello.c, this is the C programming language. There are 2 different compilers that we can use. One of them is called Clang, and the other one's called GCC. It doesn't matter what they are the same thing for what we're thinking about right now. I'm going to compile this code using Clang. And I'm going to pass it the name of the file, .c, and I want to produce a file. So this is the -o option called, I want to call this hello. So without the .c at the end. I'm going to press enter on my keyboard, and I don't expect this to produce any output. This is what I expected to see. But if I type ls in my directory right now, there's now an additional file here. To run this program, I'm going to type in // and then hello. This is just the name of the program that I created here. So I'm not typing in the .c, I'm just typing in hello. If I press enter here, it runs hello world. // says from this directory, run this program. If I was in a different directory, so if I change up one directory, I could type // compiled from this directory, run the hello program that's inside of that directory. Compiled programs, we compile it with this program called Clang or GCC, and then we can just run it. Let's check out the compiled VM directory. So I'm going to do change directory to com, tab, and then dash, and then tab, and then enter. In here, there's a file that's called hello.java. Java is a compiled virtual machine-based language, so we have to use an extra program to actually run the output of this. To compile a Java program on the command line, we'll run Java and then HE, and I'm going to hit tab on my keyboard. So hello.java, the name of the source file. I'm going to hit enter. I did not expect that to work. I'm going to actually run javac hello.java. So javac hello and the HE tab. And then if I press type ls here, it will report that it's created this class file. I learned something new today. Awesome. Once we've got this, then we can run java hello. And the difference here is that I'm not typing .java, I'm not typing .class. When I ran javac hello.java, it created this file hello.class. If I'm running Java, I just want to say Java hello. That will run this. Yeah, today I learned that you can just run a Java file through the Java program. That's cool. That's neat. The last one I want to show us is I want to show interpreted languages. So I'm actually going to go back here because I want to show one thing here. I want to change directory to my parent. So go back, ... and I want to change into the interpreted directory. So this is me going back and then into another directory all in one step without having to go back and then to the next one as two separate commands. In here, I have a file called hello.py, and to run this program, it's a Python program. I will use Python, and I'll type in HE and tab on my keyboard, and this will just work. I was really surprised when I ran Java and it just worked because this is more like what Python does. But again, today I learned. So this is going to get us to the point of being able to download stuff from the internet, and then in different kinds or different types of programming languages, it's going to let us run those different types of programs.